Greetings and welcome to your Mindfulness Mastery podcast. I am your host and trusted guide, Tawnya Love. I am an intuitive, shamanic, angelic wayshower, healer, light worker, and author. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this podcast. To schedule any one-on-one sessions or group healing events, you can visit and book your sessions on my divinely inspired website at mindfulnessmastery888.com. Thank you so much for your presence and for your support. Now sit back, relax, and open yourself to receive. All right, so we're picking up from our last conversation. Welcome to Mindfulness Mastery 888 podcast. I'm Tawnya Love, and I've got my soul sister, Cindy Campbell, here. And we're just continuing this conversation in 22-minute increments-ish. And so we left off with the last one talking about how we're not here to hate on each other. We're here to really help and support and love each other. And a big part of shadow work, which is our topic today, is shadow work in essence is facing our own shit. It's facing the parts in ourself that are keeping us from, let's just call it alignment, like our true soul's alignment. And when we're in our highest alignment, we're at peace. I have a life's mantra. I owned a yoga studio for a while, and the mantra was be peaceful, be playful, be present. And when we can really embrace that energy like a child, we're really peaceful, we're playful, we're present. We're not egoic, envious, competitive, jealous, vengeful. Those are all lower frequencies in the shadow. A book that Cindy has heard of many times with me, since I am her soul coach, is a book called The Gene Keys. I highly recommend that book. And in the book, it really breaks it down to understanding what the shadow frequency is, what the gift frequency is, and what the acidic frequency is. And what spirits helped me understand is that as we're moving out of shadow, like where Cindy is knowing she wants to get the fuck out of shadow land, we could call it hell on earth. Because when we're in shadow, we're not at peace. We don't feel enough. We don't feel seen, heard, understood, loved, appreciated. And a big part of it is because of, like how Cindy mentioned, she took on something of her dad, something of her society that said, hey, you're not perfect. So we're not impressed and we don't love you. Be more perfect, and then we might love you. That we learned that shit really young in childhood. And myself as a soul coach and a healer and all the things I do, I healed that with spirit. I did that work alone with spirit. I had to go through so much rejection. Now, did I have to? I won't say I had to, but I did. I went through a lot of rejection. I think some souls, the struggle can be like, they so want to be loved, but they also feel that pressure of conforming to a way that society has that doesn't feel aligned with their own soul. I am not a soul wired for that. And I have a word for it in my book. I wrote a book called Universal Trust Fund Baby. And in that book, it talks about what it is to be a sacred rebel. And a sacred rebel, we come in knowing and wired in ourselves to know. It's like a Jedi in Star Wars. Like we can feel the Force. We understand our destiny, our soul's purpose deep in ourselves. But we're born into often families with different issues. Like I was born into a family with a lot of abuse and a lot of trauma and a lot of just deception and pride and egoic misogyny, narcissism, like mental health issues from a lot of people around me. And so you get born into these families as a soul, but in your wiring, you're like, I am not here to be like this. And I'm here to illuminate this. I'm here to walk into a room and go, why aren't we talking at this family gathering about what's bothering everyone? Why are we just shoving food in our mouth? Why are we just running from our problems? So souls like my own have not had an easy journey. And I feel Cindy is one of those, like an earth angel in a human body that dropped into some energy. And part of it is learning to navigate that we as souls chose that but we're not here to identify with it. That's a huge part of it. Like we, as children, took it on.
Yes.
Because we did the best we knew. We were trying to please those fucking wounded boys and girls calling themselves our parents, right? And they're doing their best with what they understand. So a lot of it's how do we, as adults, come into that self-mastery and face our shadow and look at the parts that are not us. I think that's ultimately what shadow work is like I'm looking in and seeing what's bringing me discomfort, dis-ease, what is making me feel not enough. And do I really feel that? Or is that something I'm carrying? Am I carrying a baton of I'm not enough because my dad told me that? Or my, peers that I hung out with in school said that? Or the societal program nowadays with so many kids plugged into the internet, like a lot of it's coming from actual programming.
Yeah.
If we're carrying that, we're suffering, but we don't have to suffer. And we didn't come here to suffer. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yes.
So I'm going to let you talk for a minute. What do you feel about that?
The part you were talking about, like being really honest with yourself and being willing to take a look like internally is huge.
Self-awareness is the only key to freedom.
Yes.
If you don't want to have self-awareness, you will continue to project your shit on everyone around you. Facts.
And
Facts. Yes.
And I think even like sometimes I'm willing to even like look at it, but it's hard to say like out loud some of these things.
Yes.
This is where I appreciate like all you have done for me, in that I know that I can literally tell you anything, and I have told you everything.
Yeah.
And you listen without judgment.
Thank you.
Help me with those things. Like,
my pleasure.
It's priceless, honestly. Thank you. Because without being able to
now you're gonna give me tears.
Good tears.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, some of those things are things I wasn't even able to talk to with like my therapist, and certainly not with friends, and most certainly not with family.
Yeah.
And so that healing is so important.
Yes.
But that stuff does keep coming up. Like little tidbits.
And I
keep coming up
promise you it won't forever.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff coming up for you right now because you're choosing a path of a higher frequency.
Yeah.
If you weren't, you wouldn't even be this close to me. And I say that not in an arrogant way, but in a very understanding energy and consciousness way.
Yeah.
You would not even take the heat of this kitchen. Like, we have these kitchen discussions, but the heat of the kitchen would be too much and you'd be running. And this is why I've had to learn as a soul not to take it personally. And I feel like this message is for other star seeds and earth angels and whatever you resonate with as a way that makes sense to your soul. It might make sense to you that you all have, there's been people that are probably listening or will listen that are like, wait a minute, that sounds like me. I've been rejected. I've been betrayed. It seems like I'm isolated a lot. I'm on my own. I'm in solitude. But we're not alone. We're really, some of us, I feel, kind of put in those divine protection energies, or like I started looking at rejection as not rejection, but as spiritual protection and spiritual redirection. And sometimes energies will lash out or they will run away from you. Lovers, friends, family. You could have children. You could have a husband. It doesn't matter if they don't want to have self-awareness and be in that frequency of awareness and spiritual alignment with you.
Yeah.
Your choice to be in that frequency of unconditional love will trigger the fuck out of souls that are wanting to be in shadows still.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you just have to accept that some energies will fall away from me choosing to be authentic and me choosing to be in my alignment. And when something that came up when Cindy was talking to me in the kitchen earlier, that came through me because it'll make more sense as people get to know my energy, but spirit speaks through me a lot. And it was when we were talking to you about this is a love that you have not had before.
Yeah.
Like you don't understand it and you're trying to, but it's like source God coming through Tawnya to love you.
Yes.
Because my soul allows that.
Yeah.
People feel that.
Yes.
And some feel oh my God, this feels so good and I need it. And I'm ready for that kind of love and acceptance. And some say, I can't handle being near her because I am a bad, bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they run.
Yes.
And that is something I've had to be, and this is kind of an interesting perspective to share, which I didn't even know I was going to say this right now, but
Yeah.
I feel for light workers to understand that, you know, you're not doing something wrong by being the light. You're not doing something wrong by loving so fucking unconditionally. But
Yes.
boundaries are important. And I've learned a lot about that in the past year.
Yeah.
I've literally had to go through a really hard relationship that Cindy knows about. Because as much as she shares with me when we're doing a session as a soul coach, would you say I'm completely raw and transparent with my own journey with you?
Oh, absolutely. But
and I feel that's so important.
It's how I learn.
Yes.
And it's how I also am like, oh, okay.
Like, fuck, she's going through stuff. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's part of like the human experience. Like, we're earth angels. We're like, I know myself to be divine and worthy. But I also know I came consciously to a lower, more dense planet to share and bring heaven to earth and share frequency and consciousness.
Yeah.
So that's like coming from a higher frequency into a lower dense dimension in a human experience. So there's times like I am so multidimensional, and I feel like I'm saying this because people need to hear this because they are too, and they'll be like, that helps me because we're multidimensional. And so sometimes there's layers to things and layers to an experience that isn't because we're bad or we're being punished.
Right.
It's because we're actually here to kind of drag the pond and get all the sludge out. And so in shadow work, we're doing that in ourselves. When we're looking at the world right now, I know there's so many people really stressed out in America because of some of the illusions of leadership that are happening, in a very polite way of saying that.
Yeah.
But energetically, those souls are illuminating the toxic sludge of the pond that needs to be seen and addressed and cleared.
Yes.
If we want to have a healthy pond.
Yes.
So it's like there's a lot of humans in our country that are like, we want a healthy country and a healthy America. But equally, there's energies that are like completely running from self-awareness. So I feel like the reason this is coming up is that it helps us to understand it at a very basic, simple way, that no matter how complex the storyline or the situation, this is the simple truth. Self-awareness is absolutely required. It's the key to unlock the door to freedom, to true liberation,
yes,
to true alignment, and mastery. If we want to be masterful at anything and conscious creators, we have to be able to sit with self and actually have that self-awareness, but not judgment. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
what's the difference between self-awareness and judgment? Is self-judgment. So I could have self-awareness and be like, oh, I'm aware of the fact I'm churning these really destructive thoughts right now and I'm feeling like a piece of shit. I'm aware of that. God damn it, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a terrible human. Now you just took your awareness and now you're judging yourself. So like the awareness coming up is not, it's just neutral. It's just information coming up. But the wounded ego that grabs it and goes, oh, we suck, we're terrible. That exact energy, if you give it like a name, like I told Cindy, give it a name, a personality, because then you can sit and have tea with it and realize it's not you. And then you can tell her, thank you. You can go now, you freak. You know what I mean? I love you. I love you. And thank you for what you're bringing up. And thank you for your concerns. But I'm going to lead this.
Yeah.
And that's when higher self you comes in and leads your life. And it's no longer that toxic banter going on inside your mind looping.
Yeah.
That has you spinning. And that's the difference between like the egoic chatter, the wounded egoic chatter, and self-awareness that's neutral, where I can just, like Buddha talks about in meditation, like sitting on the edge of the water, the river, and the thoughts are the river. And when we lose ourselves, it's like we fall into the river and get dragged downstream and we're drowning. But if we sit neutrally and we just watch and observe as the thoughts go, they don't have any control over us because we're not the thoughts.
Yes.
So I feel like you're in a really big and important part of your mastery of understanding that and being able to observe as a witness. I'm observing these thoughts. They are not me. And I can release them and I can choose to identify with them, or I can just observe them. And then I can choose to focus on beauty and gratitude. And if I'm feeling an awareness coming up that I actually am in solitude, but my inner child is craving connection, I can learn to listen to my higher guidance, which says, go to the kitchen and talk to your friend and tell her how you're feeling. And that is beautiful.
Yes.
What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I have definitely struggled with being the witness, right? Haven't mastered that quite yet.
Been more dragged in the river a lot, drowning, taken in water. Yes.
And like even just last night, I was like, okay, the neutral, like being neutral.
Yeah.
And how important that was. And it was like, and I was by no means perfect, even though I was trying to be perfect at it.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, just let them pass. Like, just be neutral. It can be there. Don't try to get rid of it. Just allow it to pass.
That's exactly the key, because when we're trying to get rid of it, we're resisting it.
Yeah.
We're like having a struggling match with water. Like if you think of it as a river metaphor, it's like you're fighting water. What's going to come of that? You're going to drown. The water's just going to keep flowing. So it's more staying neutral and detached, like interesting. Almost like what I'm getting is look at it with curiosity. Interesting. That's an interesting thought. Oh, wow. Man, that's pretty dark. Yeah. Very villainous. Like you could almost like just see it like with I don't even want to say a sense of humor because it's not always funny, but like see it with neutrality, that it's just an energy coming up. And ultimately they're coming up to be accepted, loved, understood, and released.
Yeah.
So it's not coming up even just to be gotten rid of. It's something in it wants to help you understand something deeper in yourself, and something in it wants to be accepted. Because when you integrate that energy, it's not going to come up and fight you anymore. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like, and we can talk about my warrior later, but like I'll share some stuff about that. But like when I learned I could love her and accept her, I could see she's been a protective energy in my journey, this energy, but I don't let her lead me if it doesn't feel aligned. Like I let my higher self come through. So warrior, she might want vengeance. She might want to take a motherfucker out, you know? She's going to cut a bitch because she's had to survive. So I let her talk. I will let her come up in me sometimes and be like, I am really upset about this dishonor. And I agree. Like, yeah, girl, that was some fucked up shit. We were not honored. So I'll let her let me know, but then I let her know, but we don't do that now. We don't go and take a scalp. And maybe on timelines, we did. And maybe on timelines, we were honored for it. Maybe on timelines, that was a big part of our role, is to be a warrior. And so if we're fighting that piece of ourselves, it's going to feel like total war. But if we can be friends with her and be like, yeah, I know. Oh, we used to be good with the bow and arrow, and we used to take those scalps, didn't we? And they definitely deserved it because they were some bad fucking people.
Yes.
But energetically, when we're ascending out of that war, shadow, the key to freedom is we have to have that self-awareness and we have to choose forgiveness. And that means like, you know, I'll get into the story later. You'll remind me at some point or I'll think of it, but I could talk about a thing that happened with my biological father. And I had to realize we're forgiving him because the reason we're in that fucked up toxic family is because we vowed vengeance when he took our life on another timeline. So when does the war end? When we choose peace. Otherwise, we loop karmically with those same people. we loop karmically with the same behaviors and we keep suffering. It doesn't give anyone freedom. So that's what I'm learning from 3D and like shadow frequency, moving to fifth dimensional consciousness, moving higher frequency to the gift and Siddhic frequency. The key is forgiveness. And that doesn't mean you hang out with all these people. We'll get into that. And we're getting to that point where we'll kind of integrate out. I'm going to let Cindy have a moment to say anything she wants to say, and then we're going to pause and we'll start up our next episode on this same topic.
Yeah. Just to kind of phase out of this episode, I will say shadow work has been very difficult, but it has been very much worth it.
Yes.
And so just to keep an open mind and an open heart.
Yes.
I've definitely had to work on that.
Yes.
But it has been so worth it to look in and dig in, and really like the amount of peace that I have gotten from this work has been beautiful.
I mean, in truth, it's the only way we can access peace, and the peace that's waiting for us on the other side of our attachments and our anger and our projections and all the stuff, the egoic woundedness, we'll just call it that.
Yeah.
All that peace that's waiting for us is profound. That peace that surpasses all understanding.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And the more authentic like version of myself, like finding that, like we'll be digging into that, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just want to say, get ready to live. Because truly, it's going from the struggle and the caterpillar life to the butterfly, where you're going to go from survival to thrival.
Yeah.
It's moving out of a frequency, and there's a life that's in a shadow frequency, and there is a different life that you will have to surrender and sacrifice the old life to move into the new one, which you have done on so many levels by even relocating and moving away.
Yeah.
But that energetic that you're experiencing is such a huge part of the initiation, the key to the level up. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to pause here. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will continue this conversation on the next podcast. And we love you all. So love your fucking selves. Peace out. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today to our most recent podcast of Mindfulness Mastery 888, The Real, Raw, and Truthful. For those who would like to book any one-on-one sessions, you can contact me at mindfulnessmastery888.com. A gentle warning on working in higher realms of consciousness. As you are listening to our podcast, you may feel or experience tingles, dizziness, or tiredness. This is your body giving you guidance that it needs to relax. It's not a bad thing, but we do encourage you to honor your body and get yourself in a position where you can relax and receive these codes of consciousness. I thank you for taking a moment to subscribe, like, share, and follow, and come back and check out our newest content. Have a blessed and peaceful day.